What's up guys, MixedByJocelin here and welcome back to Mixed Up, where I show you how to mix down tracks in Logic Pro X. And today I'm going to be showing you why you have to be using buses and auxiliaries in your mixes, especially when it comes to using reverbs, delays and even parallel compression. Let's go.
Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Okay, cool. So I've got a project up here. This is an amazing song by an artist called Jesse Elvis, a good friend of mine. The song is called Good Enough. It's on all streaming platforms now. I'll put the link down in the description for you guys. Very vibey song. But yeah, so today we're going to be talking about using buses,
bus driver,
and auxiliaries to control your effects and using them in the right way. I see a lot of engineers and producers and stuff putting on especially reverbs and delays like directly on their channel strip.
Very smart. Very smart.
And you just don't get enough control from that. So using a bus and an auxiliary allows you to gain a lot more control, and as well it allows you to share that same plugin settings with as many other channels in your project as you want. So you know, you could have a bunch of different leads and you can all be sharing the same, for instance, and it's saving on your CPU power, processing power, and just allowing you a much easier workflow.
That sounds pretty good.
So let's get into it. What we need to do first is exactly what buses and sends are and auxiliaries, and then how you use them to optimize in your project. So basically what you're doing is, if you look on your channel strip over here on the page, you'll see these boxes pop up. They come up as sends first. You can click this and then you can basically activate a bus.
We have a main bus B undervolt,
which is what you're going to be sending to your auxiliary, and the bus basically acts as the level of how much you're sending of that signals to an auxiliary. So we have a vocal here. I'll play it for you. And you can see here we're getting a healthy signal running through this. Now if I was to create a bus, we'll use the next available bus, which is bus 8. And then that's going to basically create an auxiliary that bus is then attached to. So, you know, essentially it is like an actual bus in real life.
yeah, you get on the bus.
It's taking a bunch of people, or in this case signal, and taking it from point A to point B. The only difference is we're keeping the original signal in the same place. So we'll have the dry vocal or the vocal with no reverb being run to the stereo out, and then at the same time we're creating a separate parallel channel where we have the reverb on and being run through, so we can create a much more controlled balance, and we're not going to drown out our vocal with whatever processing we're adding on the auxiliary, be it a delay, reverb, a compressor, you name it. Once we have the bus set up, we have this, as you can see, we have this auxiliary 8 set up. That's the pair, and then that will also appear on your mixing console over here. They normally come up yellow if you're using Logic. What we can then do is, using this dial here, this governs how much signal we're sending to that auxiliary. So another level of control we can get from using a bus or an auxiliary, if that makes sense. So if I press play, you'll see the more I turn up this dial, the more signal we're sending to this channel here, the auxiliary. Turning it up, and you can see the volume raising as we're doing it, and then turning it all the way down. So right now we're just basically duplicating the signal, so it's just getting louder the more we add, because we're basically creating a carbon copy of the signal from another channel strip that's then also being fed to the stereo out. So the thing is, when you're using buses, the one thing that you want to really make sure that you're doing a lot of the time, anyway, this isn't all the time, but let's say for instance you want to add some reverb to it and you're going to use a bus to do that, which I would suggest. You want to make sure once you've added your reverb on, we're going to use the Valhalla vintage verb, you want to basically make sure that this mix knob is set to 100. So we're only going to be sending pure reverbed vocals, so none of the actual dry signal is in at all. When if you were to do this on your channel, you would have to blend in and find that balance between this. Instead of doing that, we're going to keep it at 100 and we're going to find the blend here, or alternatively we can find the blend using our fader. I would then suggest using the blend here and keeping the fader at 0, because then if you have multiple instances of different vocals that you're sending to this same reverb, you're not going to affect the volume of all of those at once. You can individually mix, so other channels can have more reverb than others, if you see what I'm saying. So for instance, the lead might have a lot less reverb being sent to it than some of the ad-libs or something like that you want to be more in the background and more space, and you can gain all that control from one plugin rather than have to do it individually. So that's really what I'm trying to get across here, is the benefit of it. So once we have our reverb set up, you know, you can change all of the different parameters of the reverb, the decay, pre-delay, set it exactly how you want, EQ it. And you know, if you want to learn more about my personal settings and what I like to use on different techniques and a breakdown of this particular plugin, let me know down in the comments and I'll make a video on it. So once we have that set up, I'm going to turn these buses off because they actually already have reverb on stuff that I've set already. So just so you can really hear the effect. So this is the reverb dry, this is the vocal dry, with none of our bus to auxiliary reverb being sent to the stereo out. And I'll solo it so you can really hear it. Sorry, Jesse. And then if I start to bring this dial up, you'll start to hear the pure reverb, full 100% reverb being mixed into the stereo out.